While we take a deep breath, if we want to put in our little chat where we're from, just in case we have more people show up, kind of anything that you want to share. If you're looking for a little help today in a certain category, do that. I'm going to she seems like she's better. Let's see. Good. Just send a message. Barb, you're all fancy with your pink. What's your shirt say? More?
As more self-love.
Yay! Let's do it. More self-love. Good idea. All right. So let's do a little breathing. The word, pick a word that you need more of, whether it's trust, love, confidence, or another word that is a positive word that you need more of in every breath that you take, every inhalation, you just bring that in. So I'm going to choose calm as my word because I'm a little hyped up right now. Calm love. I'm going to do a double-decker emotion. Calm love. If you want to put in the chat what you want. Okay, we have patience. We have calm. Peace. Somebody said peace. Good morning, Susan, Deanna, Barb, Missy, Michelle, Deanna. I didn't say good morning to myself yet. So on the inhale, bring that in. And on the exhale, any other thing that's the opposite of that, the challenge, the problem, the whatever is causing a stir, you just acknowledge and let that go. Just acknowledge that. We'll put in the negative side, the negative emotion that's taking place in your body. Stress, fear, out with fear. So in with calm, out with fear. Out, out, out. In with peace. Out with turmoil. And you can also add a pause. When you let that out, let it out, 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 and a pause. Then in with love, calm, peace. Pause. And then out, 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 out. Don't name it or name it. Just out, 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 out. And pause. And maybe a nothing breath. Maybe just a let it in, let it out, a yawn, a wiggle, a shake, a shimmy, whatever. A crick, a crack, a movement. Whatever needs to go on. And how about just a being? Just a being okay. Charlie's just a being in the back. Charlie's Barb's cute little dog. She is just a being. He's like, there's no worries here. I'm just being a dog. So if we can just feel the vibration of an animal that's around us that just has no fear, it's just being. I have my cat on the rocking chair, just sleeping in the sun, no worries, no fears, not thinking about the next morsel she's going to get. They just know how to be. So I'm pausing a little more than I'm wanting to, because I want to get on with it. So I'm practicing pausing more. So in that pause, let's just explore that what's right with the world, your world right now. What's right? So you may have to explore, just like what's right. I have a roof over my head. That's what's right. My refrigerator has food in it. That's right. I have an animal that is just so sweet and loving. That's right. We were to assess our body. A good portion of it's working perfectly. My eyes to see, my ears to hear, my mouth to taste, my nose to smell, my throat to swallow, most often, right, Susan? Not always, but most often. My lungs that breathe. So most of our body is working. There's a little technique that when I'm coaching and we get fired up about one or two or three or four parts of our body, is if you can visualize your body in sections of 1 cubic inches, like mash your body into cubic inches. How much of your body is actually perfectly working? We tend to pick on one little spot or a few spots, but when we take 100% of our body, most of our body is perfectly balanced. We just don't give it that much attention because we, as people know, when they've been through something, we've taken it for granted. So let's really look at our senses. We can see each other. Yes, sometimes we need our glasses. We can hear each other. We can smell each other, even though sometimes we don't smell very good. Thank you, nasal passages. We can taste our food. We can feel the water go over our tongue and go down our throat. We don't know where else it's going, but it's doing whatever it needs to do. All with the brilliant blueprint of our body. The miracles that happen every moment that we just don't know that are miracles. So thank you, body, all those parts that are working. I appreciate them. Hi, Michelle.
So I was told if we take each of our cells and put them under a microscope, they're completely perfect and full of light. So then if we just take all those cells together, our entire being is just emitting light.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I, like, kind of like how you said you take little cubic inches. I take each cell and think about it and it's pure light and perfect. So put it all together and it's me and I'm pure light and perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfect
Amen.
like, a perfect
Not-
human, but
Not ego perfect.
right.
Yes, and you're looking very sexy this morning, Michelle. I don't think I've ever seen you with your hair down.
Well, she cut it
Oh, you did? Oh, sure, it's shorter.
or
Yeah.
had it.
I cut 18 inches off.
Wow.
And this is my pool attire today.
Wow, very sexy.
Oh, sexy for
Cool.
bathing suit. Too
That's
sexy.
so
for
nice.
pool.
Thank you.
Nice.
I
Okay.
just want to give a disclaimer or something that I have my daughter eavesdropping,
Yay.
maybe
Welcome, daughter.
participating. Yeah, she's walking around now, but
Yay.
yeah, I thought she
I'm
would.
sure she has her clothes on.
She does.
We've
So,
had shows on this show before.
yeah, say hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice
Yeah.
to see you in the flesh.
Yeah,
Yay. Yay, yay.
it's kind of nice having her here. She's been here not quite a week, but tomorrow it'll be a week. Tomorrow it'll be a week that you've moved here. Yeah. So
Yay.
it's nice.
So that's interesting because that we can jump off that element of your life. So Rachel's home. Some of you have met Rachel. Rachel, and without sharing a lot of her story, because she might have decided to have a nap. Rachel could not get help for one of her symptoms here in the States. So she went to Croatia and
Wow.
had a pretty intense surgery and had some amazing healing. And she arrived home and is living here. This is her home until further notice. Then she and I can both decide that. So she is home and healing. And so
You're in her house.
this is my home.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's been here for a few months.
Oh, she's with you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
So she's got her own little space and she has a lot of the same vision, house of healing, a healing house. So we've got some things to do together.
Cool.
So while she's healing, she's safe and it's really beautiful. So when I asked her this morning about a topic for today's call, it didn't take her long to respond to solitude versus being lonely.
I like that.
Yeah. So, and I haven't had a moment to actually process that. So I have more questions, and this will, as always, these calls just end up just turning into whatever they need to turn into. The people that are here are perfect for who need to hear this. The people that click on this after, if it ends up turning into recording, is also perfect. But my initial like personal experience with that is this weekend. I didn't get much done because I have been feeling overwhelmed, have been feeling like I'm in this alone. Like my up story is my update for those that have not seen this. This is my completed renovation. So this was a 6-month renovation on this space. And I recently had to let go of my amazing builder. So I'm in this alone. So have I felt lonely? Yeah. Especially when Rachel was not here because I was just processing and I have 2 rooms gutted right now and I can't so I've been feeling overwhelmed. I'm having shortness of breath, which is a overwhelm program. It's a conflict active phase of feeling overwhelmed, not being able to catch a breath. That's a purposeful thing. So knowing all these things is I needed a break this morning or this weekend. I thought I wanted to do work and make progress with all the things that need to be done before winter, but I didn't have the energy. I was just like, I need to just not reach out to people, and not, I didn't have the energy to do consultations. I didn't have the energy to even say hi to my kids, my grandkids. Like, it just wasn't in me. Was I lonely? Aspects, yes. But was I recharging my battery and listening to my body and giving it what I needed? Yes. Was it easy to go down a little pity party? And I say that because I was like, oh, I recognize that I could really do this because I've been there before. Before I found my builder, I was like, I can't do anything because I go out and I'm like, I have to do this project. I can't because ... And I go outside and look at another, oh, I need to do this project. I can't because ... So I could have swirled really easily this weekend. With that awareness, I was like, no, you're not. I'm putting a stop to it. No, I am just being. I am taking a time out. I deserve a time out for rest. There is no rush to these projects. If it costs me another $100 in electric because there's a hole in the wall, so what? Money doesn't matter. Money flows in. It's all about trusting this bigger piece, and then working my little pieces of my particular psyche. The money issues. I can't. I'm not enough. I don't have enough resources. There's not enough time in the world, or not enough time in the day. So all that to say, I took a time out this weekend, but I didn't fall into a hole because of the awareness. And Rachel was also here a little bit to just be that little buffer. But when Rachel's not here, like for the last month, she hasn't been here. So I talk to my cats. I'm like, okay, can you help me out, Andy? And I try to, just with the awareness, just try to lighten up my own commentary that can get so heavy. Does anybody have commentary that gets heavy? And I will guarantee everybody's going to raise their hand. We do it. It's human. But when we do it with awareness, we can be empowered by our own awareness to say, I hear that recording. That's where it's like, oh, I'm aware of the recording versus, oh, it's been just doing itself like for the last however long. Whoop, I am now aware of this.
It's just thinking.
It's just thinking.
It's just thoughts.
Now when I hear myself thinking, I like to take a deep breath, because with my overwhelm, it's actually purposeful. And it's the diaphragm program. So in that breath, we can choose to take another look at that thought. We can choose to change one word in that thought. I can't do anything because there's the stop. Wait, is that true? We can choose to question that thought. Can I do something? And then I go, what can I do right now? Right now, I can move the books out of the basket to the floor. I could do that. That's a project that's pending. Those books need to go someplace. I can literally be silly with that little overwhelming project. I could do that. I could go upstairs and draw a picture of the wall where the wood needs to be cut out of the wall because it's moldy. I could do that. That would be very simple to do. And it'd keep me busy so that those other thoughts don't come up.
And it begs the question, who are you without doing?
Right.
Because that's a lot there. Who are you without doing? You know,
Right.
it's like, because I've had to deal with that. I can't do a lot. It's like, okay, does that mean I have no life? No, you know.
Yep. Just like going back to Barb's Charlie. He doesn't need to be doing anything, right? She doesn't need to be doing anything right now. She's just being a cute little dog. Humans have a hard time just being. Like, I gotta do.
Right.
But
Yep.
we have that other part of the brain that is about who we are, our identity, what we want to do to make the world a better place. Good morning, Rachel.
Yeah, good morning, Rachel. Nice to see you.
Good morning. Nice to see you as well.
Yes.
You're
And-
feeling better? I heard you had an operation.
I gave a little snippet, Rachel. The short story.
Yeah, she told us all your secrets.
You just muted yourself accidentally, I think.
Mute. Anyways,
Sorry, I am terrible doing this on the phone. I'm not on my computer. Yeah, I had some stuff going on, but I'm back and I'm resting.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for all your support.
cool.
Yeah. So we went through some breathing and just talking about doing and being, and I just told my weekend events where I felt overwhelmed and blah blah blah. So we're up to just introducing the topic today: solitude versus loneliness, quietness versus, and actually I want to just do a little ego talk, loneliness. Like when Rachel gave the topic this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, that's good. Loneliness, in my first response, was the desire for something else outside of ourselves. Like, I'm lonely. Oh, the thought does come, I want a man. Like, I'm ready to have a partner that we can do some amazing things together. I am absolutely ready. Do I get lonely every so often? Yes. Do I let that pull me in? No, because I'm too aware of a slippery slope there. And it doesn't serve me. So I have to go, nope. Obviously, my God says it's not time. Either he's not ready or I'm really not ready. So I have to let go with that desire of, I want something that I don't have. And just be present and fill my own identity, my own 24 hours with what am I going to do? So the loneliness, the wanting versus solitude, like animals, solitude. Like, we could actually, that would be fun to do. If somebody wants to do it while we're talking. The etymology of solitude, like breaking that soul, etude, I don't know. I just have more questions today. So the solitude, just being okay with yourself, your cells, self cells is funny similarities of words.
And I think we fool ourselves sometimes with the wanting. If only I had this, then I would feel fulfilled. It's like, I have definitely felt lonely in the midst of people, even a significant other. It's like, I want to be by myself. I don't want to always have to acquiesce to like, oh, because I think as women, I'm this way. If someone's there, oh, I just, what do you want? I think of what they would like to watch or what they would like to do, and it's like, and I put my own stuff on hold. And I don't know, I think it's the wanting in and of itself. I mean, I heard this quote one time. It's like between longing and loving, being in someone's presence, they're both love. When you're with the lover, it's called love. It's great. And when you're longing for the lover, it's still love. It is love. But in that longing, having and wanting, it feels a little, I don't know, unsettled, unfinished. Um, oh, conditional. It's conditional. And I have to say, some of my most profound moments in life have been in solitude. Not in solitude, but it's like, I don't need anyone to, I mean, it's nice to be with somebody. Companionship is nice. And if you have feelings of uneasiness, like, oh, something's not complete, I need to work that out myself. Because often someone else can't really fill that. There's still going to be a wanting. Oh, and now I want them kind of to be more like this, not like that, and it never ends. It's like, again, the difference between being in your heart and being in your mind. Being in your heart, you're content. Being with a good friend, having a conversation, it's so fulfilling. It's a contentment. There's not this, oh, let's do this, let's get this stuff. And when you're in your mind, it's a lot of wanting. It's a lot of frenetic searching, a lot of discontent. You kind of have to go through what doesn't fulfill you in order to find out what does. And a lot of times it's a subtraction problem, not an addition problem. Just like we fool ourselves with conditional love. And I think it's real important to notice the joy of living just in, I was sitting outside the other day. I have people here, but all of a sudden I just got this overcome with this feeling of being really liking myself. I know it sounds narcissistic, but it's like I'm not liking myself, really enjoying being alive, being me. It's not always going to be there. I'm not always going to be this being, look like this, and even feel like this, which sometimes doesn't feel so good. But for the most part, I like being me. I like it a lot. And it's so, and so here I was in the midst of you, Lauren was here, and my friend Diane was here, and they were doing their thing. And I felt completely alone in that feeling, in solitude, in that feeling of like, wow, it's really cool being alive. I really like being me. I haven't always, but most of my life, it's been a cumulative thing where it's like, I like being alive. I like me. I like being me. I wouldn't want to be anybody else. Even though the circumstances I would like to be different sometimes, wanting, but it doesn't really help to want things to be different.
Yeah. That it reminds me of I was in Florida for this one our winter. So for 4 months, January to April. And I went to a nudist beach. And on my way out, like I was by myself, I was just like, okay, I'm doing this. And I recorded it someplace on my phone. I was like, you can be anybody you want. Like nobody's knowing. You're stripped of everything. You can be anything you want. Who do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be me. Like, I just want to be me. Like, I'm like me. I am very entertaining. I like being me. And as most people know, when they're in the spiritual journey, like a lot of that is spending time with yourself. Like, it's alone
Truly,
time. The
truly.
last 12 years, I've probably been alone 90% of the time, if that's possible. That might be a little high because I work with other people, but a lot. And that's when we can do our work, because it's like we can't point out, we can't blame. It was like, nope, here you are with your thoughts. Welcome to them. Make sense of them, put them together. Hi, Rachel. Go.
I just want to share that you can also have your solitude with someone, like you were saying, Barb, how people can be all around you and you can still, like you were, and like similar to what you're saying too, Deanna, you can be on a nudist beach with a bunch of naked people and you're still you. And when you stand in your power, this is kind of a shamanic term, but when you're standing in your power of who you truly are, it doesn't matter where you are, who you're with. You don't have loneliness because you have that strength and that power of who you are.
Yeah.
And one of my first teachers said to me, from the moment we're born, we're taught to desire. We're taught to want more. We desire food. We desire, to nurse. We desire to be loved. We desire. So from the moment we're born, we're taught to desire. And all of the healing modalities teach us to do the opposite. So it's a matter of finding the balance in between, I think, where you can stand in your own power and your own strength and resonate with who you are, see what you need as opposed to what you're desiring. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. That gives me a flashback of a moment I was sitting, we were eating dinner, one of my partners, and side by side, well, one of my past partners, I've had a few.
Yeah.
Don't judge me. One of my recent, it was an 11-year relationship, and we were probably in year 9. We're sitting side by side, and I felt so lonely. Like there was no connection. Like there was no, like the figure 8, energy in, energy out. There was no, I didn't feel it at that time. And I felt like very lonely. Now with this wisdom, kind of what Rachel presented, if I were full of myself, if I were full and knowing myself and knowing that I didn't need him for anything, I could have been in that and just been love and just been me in that moment and not had that feeling. That's all I have to say. And that's all I have to say about that. Yeah, it's anyway. Any other thoughts on this topic? Because it's a wide solitude, loneliness. Oh, the desire. Yeah, desiring. I think I said that right before you came on, Rachel, is that I desire a man. I desire
Yeah, I heard you.
whatever.
Yeah. I just went through this whole experience experience where my ex-husband was the one that was right next to my side supporting me, and our whole relationship, I was like, God, get off me, get away. And then it ended up being that he was the person who stepped forward and was with me through all of this, like right by my, literally by my side. And so I've been kind of pondering about this topic, about the desire versus the need versus the solitude versus the loneliness. And I had a need, I had a very strong need for help. And I had to allow that, which I've never been good at. So Deanna's helped me, and many people have helped me, but I've never been good at that. And then to tie that in with being able to stand in my own with that solitude versus feeling lonely, I remember being married and being like, I feel lonely and I'm married. And now I'm kind of like I'm shifting that kind of that perspective, because I'm seeing that I have to stand in my own, they have to stand in their own, and that's the only way that things are going to be able to operate properly, is by each individual person that's around you standing in their own power of who they are, standing in the confidence of who they are. Even when you're in need and have to lean on them, I think the psychological term is codependence. You don't want a relationship based on codependence, because then it takes away from your solitude or your sovereignty, and then you actually become lonely because you're not able to stand in your own strength. And I don't know if I looped around enough to come to the actual conclusion of what I was trying to say. I still have a foggy brain, so forgive me.
I think you
but
did. Yeah.
but yeah, and then that plays into the idea of what Susan was saying. Sorry, Susan, I called you Barb before. I
That's
apologize.
okay.
See, your memory's amazing.
Yeah. About conditional versus unconditional. And I feel like when you can really stand in your own power and your own strength of who you are, then you can truly offer unconditional love to others, and allow for them to lean on you if need be, or whatever they're doing. And that's why it's so important for us to have that ability to stand in our solitude and our sovereignty and ourselves.
Yeah. And it is, I just got off of a consultation with a 20-something-year-old fella who's having an issue in his relationship. And it really boils down to this topic of standing in, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I will give to this relationship because I can, versus what is being sucked out of me because of somebody else's not understand, well, trying to stand in their power, but there's unresolved stuff. So somebody's unresolved stuff ends up being somebody's stuff because of that codependency. And so when both people are saying, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I don't, and they do it in a gentle, conscious way. You can be part of my relationship or not. It's okay. I respect you in your needs. You respect me and my needs, and we communicate efficiently, effectively. We give, we take, we listen, we hear, we go back, we tighten things up, we communicate. It's all about that communication. But it's first, know thyself. And an interesting thing, going to the GNM understanding, the psyche is running this. The physical symptoms that we're left with that put us on our back, that's just the physical body going through something. What goes on in that phase is the psyche's integration of the conflict that caused the symptom or the unexpected events, series of events, many times, that created the current situation where I am lying on my back and I can't move, or I am lying and I can't clear my throat, or whatever the symptom that each of us has. The psyche is now integrating all the learnings that you've had. The physical symptoms of lay your ass down is just a physical symptom of lay your ass down. We are integrating all your lessons that you have, that brought you to this current state of mind and body. So it's something that doesn't get talked a lot about. But remember, the psyche is running the show. The thinking brain gets involved. So when the thinking brain and we can get engaged in the thinking brain to rewire, to be aware, to accept, to do all that we're learning, to downgrade, to connect, to change, that's the power. I mean, this is just following orders. It literally has nothing to do other than just do what it's doing. How brilliant the statement was that. It's just taking orders. But this, and I say this, subconscious. The subconscious is like, where's the danger? Where's the danger? Where's the danger? And sometimes there is danger. But it's this beautiful integration. It changes it from just mind, body. It's like the psyche. The brain is just taking the hit. The organ's just taking the hit. These adaptation programs are just, they're the blueprint. It's the miracle of how we're designed. How incredible is that? How are we playing along? So we have an advantage.
I think something to add to all of this is the element of now. Because I mean, I can vouch for that statement. I literally laid in a bed in a hospital for weeks, and all I had was now. And when you surrender to that now, that releases all of the desires and the stressors, truly, and allows for the body to take over and do what it actually needs to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And not to feel lonely in that now, because you're never alone and you won't even know it unless you try it. I mean, there is a presence in the now. You have to be quiet to hear and feel it. But it's like, that's not true that you're alone. We think we're alone. We feel like we're alone. But being in the now, that's how you're going to find out that you're not alone. You know, there is a presence. And it's you. I mean, I call it the I and thou because they're not separate. You know, you're not separate from your creator, from God, you know. It's just, it arises together. It's so close, closer than hands and feet, as the saying goes. It's like, I mean, aren't we, I don't know how it is for other people. And there's no formal thing, but it's like, aren't we always talking or deferring to ourselves, to God? You know, I mean, it's like, it's a step I don't have to take It's ready-made. Who I am is more like a what I am. I'm a divine being. I think when we were created, I heard it put this way, it's metaphorically, but it's like when God created the human being, he said, now where should I put myself? I know I'll put myself inside every human being for you to discover. And if you live your life and you never discover that you're so loved and never really alone, I think that's tragic. And sometimes it takes feeling alone to get there, to have an inquiry, whatever you want to call it, but just to sit and not judge oneself, but to be with oneself. Again, the I and thou. I am not separate from my creator. You listen to people that have had near-death experiences, and the minute they cross over, they say, and they live to tell about it, so they didn't really die, but they had a near-death, and they say, I felt so loved. I never felt that much love in my entire life. Mm-hmm. It's like we should strive to feel that before we die. Mm-hmm. We should strive to know that we are so loved, that there is company in that now, in the present. Yeah. We should strive to feel that. I don't know how people live feeling alone. And it's not some big formal thing that I've had to study. I mean, I have read and studied and suffered an adequate amount of time in my life. So it's something that I became more and more familiar with. I wasn't, as a child, I was like, well, what the fuck is going on? It's just like, you feel alone. But then you come to find that the greatest gift of all, as they say, is learning to love yourself. And it's not really a solitary thing. It's constantly getting that wink of approval, of like seeing, things, the serendipity. You can't deny it if you're really present and paying attention.
You trigger, and Missy has something to say, but when you said, where shall I put myself, from God's saying, if that's what you were saying, in each cell, there is a recording that I encourage you all to listen to. It's the God Code, and you can listen to it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And I know. They go through the science where Yad-He Vad-He, the sound, the original sound of God is encoded in every single cell that we have, which that was one of the recordings that really shifted me. That was a biggie in my life. So I do encourage a listen. And I think there's a book, The God Code, also. So Missy, you wanted to give us something. It looks like you have a big gold earring on your left ear. I like it.
No, I didn't. Are you thinking? I think Barb had her hand up. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Whoever said they wanted to speak.
I was just wanting to say, I think there's, at least I noticed for myself, a difference between alone and lonely. I think they're two entirely different things. I am lonely, but I think the aloneness comes from it's different. It's just a different quality. And it doesn't matter if someone is there or not. It's not really about that. And I know it comes from like whatever, the way people are raised in our situations, you know. And I do yeah. I know I'm being asked to look at that. I feel really alone on this journey I'm on right now. Because I don't know where I fit. And I have to find that somehow. Um, yeah, because it's like I just don't know where I fit in this whole thing, you know? I don't and I guess it's about like trusting I'll find a way to healing that works, but I don't you know, maybe it's not through these different groups or avenues. I just don't know what it is right now. Which is pretty scary, you know, but maybe like it's got to be like you're going to heal no matter what. I don't know. Like you'll find it or you won't. I don't know. But anyway, my main point was the alone versus lonely.
Mhm. Yep.
I want to share something in relation to that that I got to learn the hard way. And I found out that the only way that I'm ever going to fit in anywhere is to know that I'm not. The only place that I actually fit is with myself, because nobody will ever be able to understand and know the depths of who I am. And once I accepted that, I felt more comfortable being around places and people. And it's not easy. It's a topic of conversation that can be had, but it's not something you can just say, hey, you got to do this and do it. Because it's something you have to actually do in order to feel it. And to get to that space of actually doing it takes a whole lot of feeling safe, a whole lot of feeling comfort, a whole lot of feeling yourself and allowing yourself to love yourself. And I started with faking it, looking in the mirror and being like, hey, I love you. I don't really love you. I really don't want to deal with you. I don't want to look at you. But I faked it and I lied. I even wrote in lipstick on my mirrors, I love me. And it helped. But ultimately, I've literally been through hell and back in the last couple of months, in my opinion. And what brought me to the state of strength that I needed was the knowing that I love myself enough that I want to live. And unfortunately, I had to go that far to really truly integrate with that. But it's real. And my son has trouble with this as well. He's like, I just don't ever feel like I fit in anywhere. And I was like that as a young gal as well. And it's not about fitting in anywhere. It's about standing in your own power and being who you truly are and loving who you truly are. And it's not easy.
Yeah. There's definitely an element of fitting in, and I think I'm bringing in two different topics. Like I think the fitting in is coming up into how am I going to heal? I'm just what I'm not saying with, I'll just say it like you know, with German new medicine, like there's something about it that makes sense, but I'm not able to process the information yet, and I get really overwhelmed. And so thus then I get in a lot of fear. And so thus I don't feel like I have a place where I'm supported in how I can heal. And I'm sure that's tinged with this not belonging. I'm sure, you know, I'm self-aware enough to realize that, but I also need to find a place where I can heal, you know. And I guess I'm crying because there may not be time. I don't know, you know. So I have to love that this is where I'm at. I'm completely confused and I don't trust and I don't know.
but it feels like the part that is coming from the how do I want to say it? Like, I know that maybe it's not true and all that, but like just try to like, okay, I don't know. I lost my thought now, but this is where I'm at, and it may not end in a way that it ends in healing, you know? And I do kind of feel like I'm on my own, and I think there's not kind of, it just seems like we need support to heal too, and I don't know how to find that, you know? Yeah.
Mhm.
Let it come. You don't
Yeah.
have to find it. Just
Yeah.
let it come. Want, know that you long. Longing is good.
Yep.
I think surrendering is important, to surrender to that in itself, to surrender to the feeling of loneliness, to surrender to the feeling of not fitting in. And by
Yeah.
doing that, you're letting go of those battles that you're hosting.
I've heard it said too, there's the war, and then there are battles. And the battles, we win some, we lose some. But the war between good and evil is that alignment, that commitment. You don't want to lose that. That you need to secure, to know that you are somebody and you do know the difference between good and evil, between it right and wrong. I mean, I think we're living in an age today where all those lines are all confused and we're supposed to be tolerant. Oh, teach tolerance. I remember I went through in my teaching career, I used to subscribe to this magazine before all this woke stuff came along. It said teach tolerance. And it was like, yeah, I'm down with that, but not anymore. There's some things I take a stand for because it involves the war. The war. You want to secure the war. You want to know that you stand for good. You want to know that you want to heal. You want to believe in goodness or believe. I don't like that word so much, but the battles. Oh, I wish this. I wish that. The conditional stuff. You win some, you lose some. They're not that important. But secure the battle of your life, and know that that is something that you are, that you do stand for something. Everyone on this call, anybody that would come on a call like this, they've secured the war. It's like I stand for good. I want my life to be better. I feel and see the potential. I want to connect with other human beings. Fit in. I don't know. The more we're in our sovereign power, the more we fit in, ironically.
Mhm.
The more we recognize our differences and our uniqueness, the more we fit in. Amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
When I
anyways.
when I heard your words, Barb, when you're like, I just need to know where I fit in, I got the picture of a puzzle and all those pieces that just belong there. And my interpretation then went to ants. Ants have all different purposes that you don't ever see them laying down. I don't know. They probably do. But when we see them, they're always moving. They're always doing their particular job. Some carrying dead bodies back to, like, they actually do that. They find the wounded and they bring them back and bury them. Like, we are but little ants. You just watch traffic and you just go, I watch log trucks. My father was a logger, and I just watched those little ants that cut down the trees and bring them here to cut there, to bring them back around so that I can have warmth in my house. Like we're all but little ants that are trying to do, my interpretation, finding what our role is. You don't fit in, you don't need to, I would propose this. You don't need to fit in someplace. You are you. You are a unique expression of you in this current timeline of your whole life, soul's life, whatever we can subscribe to. So here you are. There are some programs that put you on your back for months. Yours, knowing what that, yours is one of those. What can you do while you're on your back? Part of Rachel's,
So I need to believe I can heal and like
absolutely. But
and
again,
I can't hang on. I don't have that. I mean, there must be something, but
and like Rachel just said, and I would rephrase, I'm going to put one different word. You are to heaven and back, almost to heaven and back.
I don't know.
Meaning Rachel just said she went, her journey brought her from hell and back over the last couple months. That is not a joke, but I would just say heaven and back.
No, I disagree.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
I didn't go as far as heaven, but I did go through hell.
Yes, yes. And I just say you're a beautiful spirit, and I don't think that you're going down. But
No.
you were in the crux of what that negative energy looks like in the hospital, trying to pull you down on a daily basis.
Ultimately, everybody talks about not having belief systems. And there's something different than having a belief and having faith. And when you have a belief that something outside of yourself is going to fix you, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But when you have faith with inside of yourself, that's when things start to shift. And they either shift in a direction of healing or they shift in a direction of acceptance for whatever the situation is. And I shifted by finding faith in each moment, because I was very preoccupied with believing that something outside of me, believing that a belief was going to help me, believing that a belief was going to heal me. And when it came down to it, for me, and everybody's different, every single person is different, but for me, when I shifted it to having faith that I knew what I needed to do for me, and I had to surrender to that, that's when it ultimately shifted. And I had to surrender to the idea of that, hey, I might not make it through this. And this might be it. I might not hug my kids again. I might not feel sunshine on my hands again. I might not feel the breeze again. But I have right now, I have this very moment, and I would breathe and I would connect to the earth and I would use all of the tools that I learned along the way. I would jump into the mythics and I would write and I would talk into my phone because I couldn't write. And I did all the little tiny things that kept my mind occupied until I got to a space where I could actually plan something, another moment. But I'm still struggling with it. I'm still like right now I can't plan ahead. I have to heal. But I can plan dinner.
You said you surrendered to like doing what you know is right for you. Was there a period where you didn't know, you didn't have awareness of what that was?
I've studied so many different modalities of healing throughout my lifetime, extensively and intensely. that I didn't know which one to grasp onto. And ultimately, I love German New Medicine because I believe that it, for me, it provides an outline and a vague understanding. But the problem that I kept running into was the resolves. I can understand these symptoms happening and why in the psyche, but where's the resolve? Where do I find the resolve? And the resolve for these illnesses or symptoms, however you want to look at it, the resolve comes from inside of you. And that's where you can have a faith, you can have a belief. Many people have beliefs that are so strong that that works for them. I gave up on beliefs a long time ago with my yogic studies. But it's in you.
It's not that I don't have belief. I must have belief in something, but I don't have an understanding of this, and I just can't.
And maybe the faith part is just the next step of truly believing in the belief, truly integrating in the belief. And whatever it is, hang on to it and don't waver from it until something else presents itself to you that says, this is it. Because you'll know.
Well, I was wondering that too, like and this is, I'm not putting out, I know we're done, like this is not to have this answered, but like, when do I even know if I need medical intervention? I maybe that will be clear when it's like, maybe it'll be just completely obvious, I guess, but
I wanted nothing more than to heal myself by myself. And then I realized I couldn't do it by myself. I needed help from others. And then I realized that I couldn't even do that. I needed some medical intervention. And it was a big, strong voice inside of me that said, hey, I want to live. And I knew that I had a choice to make. And fortunately or unfortunately for me, whichever stance you want to take, I think what German New Medicine calls a 6%er. And
what is
when
that?
I had that news presented to me, that's when I knew I had to really weigh things out carefully.
A 6, and I will explain 6%er, but I also want to say that we cannot compare one person's story to another person's story. So
no, I'm aware of that. Like, just because Rachel did treatment, but I just wonder, like, when is like, am I gonna know when it's time?
Well, and the thing is, when we have the perspective of what the brain's doing, we put things together in a timeline and we know where you are, we know where your fears are, we put all those things together and say, here you are in the healing based on your symptoms, not your diagnosis. So many people, and Barb, the word cancer comes with a life sentence. That fear of the word becomes the issue. And it's so tricky because when somebody has symptoms that are fearful and the diagnosis, it literally has you in a conflict active that it's so hard to take in information.
Yeah.
Like when Rachel's here and she has symptoms and I know that she can't, like I have to give her little bits of information to get the gist of it, to get a little bit of knowledge, but not the ins and outs because her brain is conflict active. It's not capable of taking in more.
I can't get
that's where the faith of, okay, so I either accept that I get the gist, I've spent enough time getting the principles, understanding the general laws that we have shocks, we have adaptations, we have resolves, and we go through healing events. I get that. So if that is true, I need to listen to my body. I need to listen to my cravings. I need to listen to what I need to do or not do. I need surgery. This is, and then this goes into the bigger piece of soul's mission. Like, do I need a surgery to have that other experience that I then bring back to the people, or then I integrate into my own life? Like, that's for me the bigger picture, because we don't know why certain people get a diagnosis and move right through it. Then other people go through this and this and this and struggle and struggle. But when we come out of it and we can look back and go, most often when we've gone through our most challenging times in our life, we only see the lessons when we get to the other side. And then we say, now I know why I needed to go through that, because without that piece, I wouldn't have this nugget to bring to my people or to my family or to myself. I wouldn't have had this realization without this trauma, without this suffering. So that's the bigger picture. So it really boils down to the acceptance of what is in the present moment, from the symptoms to understanding the thoughts, kind of slowing the thoughts down with a little bit of our brain involvement. Go, okay, here I am. So I'm either going to trust my body or I'm going to trust others to do with my body what they want.
And Barb, also distracting your looping mind is very helpful. When you're in pain, it's very hard to get centered. I had the hardest time. I've studied yoga for years and meditated every day of for the last probably 20 years. And I couldn't get into a state of meditation because of the pain. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't ground myself. So I did rely on other people to help me with that. I had my ex-husband who is a energy worker, and I used him as a ground. I had to, because it was the only way to get through to me, for me to get through to me through the pain. But the pain itself, I learned after I ended up going to a hospital and I allowed them to give me morphine. I realized on day 2 of being pumped up with morphine that I can handle that pain and I can detach from that pain, and I could do that much easier than I could do a drug that was shutting me down. And so I stopped taking the morphine, even though I was in such pain. I knew that I could control it better than the drug could, because all the drug did was make my brain forget the pain was there, which was what I was doing anyway.
Yeah,
And
that all makes sense to me. And I'm even looking into like mind body stuff for chronic pain, for the mental stuff. Yeah, there's a piece too with the pharmaceuticals I was on. I noticed Andy had posted in her group, like they have an effect, and I'm still healing from that too. Like that's affecting how I'm able to regulate myself as well.
Yeah.
So I need to wind this down because I have an appointment in a little bit. I do want to say, I'm glad to hear that the words that you used, Rachel, I do want to just speak of morphine, because what morphine does is it literally shuts down your organs. And so Rachel's experience shows that. Morphine is the only drug that Dr. Hammer said, no, no, no.
Interesting.
Because literally that's why they give it to people that have been, there's a stranger walking through the house. That's why they give it to people that have been given only a certain amount to live, because they know it shuts down their organs. So wow. Rachel did amazing on that, but her realization of, whoa, and her whole experience with her yoga and just having all that knowledge as part of her psyche is, and also honoring, she has a very high belief that my body is my temple. Not everybody has that. That is unique to Rachel. So for her to say, give me this drug because I'm in pain so bad, and then to be able to experience that, that I believe was a very critical part for her whole journey. Like she needed that much pain to have that experience so that she could have the realization that, oh, I can do this, and this is how I can do it. So full circle, she needed that experience to, at least this is my interpretation. So honoring that whole, just trusting that you are perfectly perfect for where you are, how you got here, what the next step is just a next breath away. It's like, okay, this is what I feel like I can do today. Entertaining yourself while you're healing. That is something that Dr. Hammer has discussed, has like put in writing. Entertain the patient while the patient heals. So that's why I do these calls. And today was a little deeper, but to keep us going forward, because we can get stuck in our symptoms. So if we have one little thing that we can do to entertain ourselves when we hit that wall of, whoa, I'm cycling, I'm looping. What is that for you? What can you do? Is it a talk to a friend? Is it a walk or looking in your dog's eyes, or journaling, even if you can't write, talk texting, like Rachel was explaining? What can you do while you're going through this experience that gives you whatever current symptoms you have? So this is the community of support. You are supported all week long. The tribe, like you can post in there, and it's meant to be used that way, but is not being used that way. Like that's the purpose of this. That's why I prioritize these calls on Mondays, to set the stage for going forward with whatever we can do with that light, bright experience that we're supposed to be. That Michelle explained, that we are the light. We are a bundle of light cells. So what can we do while we are in pain, while we are experiencing tightness or whatever, short of breath or coughing or whatever the symptoms are? We can do something, whether it's, oh, I'm noticing that I am in pain. That is acceptance of, here I am. Like right now I have a pain under my rib. I'm noticing that. That's very interesting. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to wand it. Haven't figured it out just yet, but it's okay. Like I know my body so well. All the intricacies, not just yet, but I trust my body like 100%. Now I just have to make sense of it and hear what's going on here. Is it a stressor? Or is it a healing event? So what's one thing, so I'll leave you with this question. What's one thing that when you hit a phase of looping and you're like, well, I realize I'm looping, and this is for all of us, what's one thing you can do that you just make that part of your plan? Is it just the acknowledgement of, oh, I'm looping and here are the themes? Yep, I'm looping, here are the themes. The acceptance of what is. So this earth's journey is not always an easy one. Sometimes there's smoother sailings and sometimes there's rough waters, but it's
Thank you, Deanna. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. It's been very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana.
Thank you, Adriana.
So have a beauty-filled month or week. Sorry. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen if I disappear for a month. Well, I'll come back and I'll explain my adventure. Let your week kind of be like an adventure of curious, like I'm curious what's going to come today. Like change from like, okay, I'm okay with what comes. Use your breath. Use your breath to just stay in the now. And that can be a gentle loop.
Yep.
Each and every one of us. And I don't know who iPhone 12 Pro Max is. I suspect. But if you want to say hi, you can. And then in 1 minute, I will close. Susan, do you have a word?
No, I wanted to say thank you to everyone too.
You're
And
welcome.
good
Thank you for
week. I
trusting all of us
really enjoyed the call.
with your
Yeah.
stories and your journeys. And we are
Good to see everyone.
we're all on a journey like this, bumps and corners. And
Have this nice. Did you see this book, Deanna?
I have not had a moment to see the book. Oh,
It's,
wait, is that YHWH?
yeah,
That's missing. It's in my house someplace.
Yod He Vod He in the God code.
Okay. What
Yeah.
page is that?
This is key 407, page 76.
Okay. My mission is to find that book today. It's one of my faves. Okay, everybody. Have a beautiful week.
A beautiful day too.
Enjoy your daughter, Susan.
Thank you.
Peace.
I am.
Okay. Take care.
All
Everybody.
right. Take care.
Bye.